What's going on, world? DS1 Ross, and we back here on Sheep Stay Sleep TV. Shout out to everybody who support the platform. Much love, much love. Salute to everybody that's in the building right now. Salute to everyone that's here. Shout out to all you visionaries, man. Shout out to all of you visionaries that's in the building. Make sure y'all start off by hitting that like button. Start off by hitting that like button, fam. Hit that like button. After you hit the like button, share today's show. Share today's show. Share it on your community tab, your Discord servers, Facebook, Instagram, anywhere that you share content. Share this show. Share this show. Let me get over here to the chat room and give some shout outs while you guys hit the like button and share today's show. I hope all you guys' weekend was relaxing. And we back here on Sheep Stay Sleep TV. I'm your host, DS1 Ross, of course. And we're going to get into it today. We're going to get into it today. Shout out to everyone that's here. Let me get over here to the chat room. I see you guys are in the building. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. This is going to be a great show, great conversation. Shout out to Just Act Shaw. Much love to you. Appreciate you for tuning in and supporting the show. Shout out to Sir O in the building. Salute to the villain sphere. Shout out to you guys, man. Salute. Shout out to Miss Garnetta Brown. Much love. I appreciate you on the check-in. Shout out to my brother Tone Malone. Appreciate you, my brother. And I appreciate you hitting me up and checking on me, my brother. I appreciate that. You know how we do over here. We our own agency, man. I appreciate you hitting me up and checking up on your brother, man. I appreciate that. Shout out to Miss Angie in the building. Shout out to you, Miss Angie, always coming through and holding down the chat room. Much love to you, Miss Angie. Shout out to Nisa in the building. Shout out to Nisa. Much love to you. Shout out to Isakuma in the building. What's good, Akuma? Beautiful cacophony, if I pronounced that right. Shout out to you, beautiful cacophony. Shout out to you, Larry Vaughn. Salute my brother. Appreciate your support as always, man. Shout out to my brother, the Book of Ronan, my day one brother. Salute my brother. Shout out to Miss Letitia in the building. Shout out to you, Miss Letitia. Shout out to my brother, my sandbox brother, Papa Flocka in the building. We gonna get into it, bro. We're gonna get into it, man. Definitely like how you added your 2 cents in, bro. We're gonna get into it, man. He said we all have to conform to something, unless you consider yourself an outlaw or a freelancer. But to conform to something against my integrity and morals is where I draw the line. Exactly. We're gonna get into it, bro. Shout out to you. I'm glad you left your sentiments, bro. Shout out to Cuzzo, Jeff Reviews in the building. What's good, cuz? Appreciate you pulling up, man. Q Art Collection. Salute Q Art Collection. Shout out to Miss Toya in the building. In the building. Shout out to you, Miss Toya. I appreciate you for tuning in as always. Shout out to the Self-Improvement Channel. Appreciate the pull-up. Shout out to Coda. Peace and love to you. Ty's Crazy-ish in the building. Much love. Much love, mamas. Shout out to Dyson in the building. What's good, Dyson? Peace to you. Thanks for that definition. Beautiful cacophony, beautiful noise. Shout out to you. Handling, salute, handling. What's going on, man? Mike C, what's good? Don't come. Shout out to Mike C in the building, man. Make sure y'all like and share today's show. Make sure y'all like and share today's show. Shout out to JR Meadows on the pull up. Shout out to everybody, man. Shout out to everybody. Like I said, I hope you guys had a great weekend. Hope you guys had a great weekend. And we back here on Sheep Stay Sleep TV with another one. And today's show, it's extremely important that we talk about this again as men, because Pope Priest, salute, little bro. Salute, little bro. This is what happens when men conform. This is what happens when men conform. Today, we're going to speak about conformity. And it's important that we speak about this as men because, as I said in the last show, what I want us to do as men of color, right? I want us to stop thinking that or treating ourselves separate from other men. And I want to start off by saying that because, as I said before, we are the definition of this country's history. So this is our country, just like everyone want to say is theirs. If you look at the facts, it's even more of ours, but we're not going to get into that. But as men, as a group of men, us color men, men of color, we have to stop looking at ourselves and treating ourselves as if we're separate from other men. We're all men here. We're all men here. You see? A lot of times we separate ourselves when we're having conversations, when we want to go into diatribes about what's going on. We like to separate ourselves. We do. And of course, we have our struggles that no other group of men has, but we also have struggles that other men do have. We do. We all share some of the similar struggles as being men. It just differ when you are a black man, when you are a white man, when you're an Asian man. And that's just because of our experiences. But at the end of the day, men are men. And when we are talking about male nature or masculinity or things of that such, we're all men here. You see? And the reason why I want us to stop doing this is because what that does to a lot of men, subconsciously, it tells us men that we're not good enough. That's what it does. It tells us brothers of color that we're not good enough to compete with the other groups of men, or that we're not even competitors. It makes black men feel like we haven't accomplished anything. We haven't done anything in the world. We haven't contributed to society. We haven't contributed to civilization. We didn't add on. That's what that does. That's what that does. And this is why, they continue to push the whole color thing. Because the color thing, subconsciously, you begin to separate yourself from other men who would actually accept you if you just came in and be who you were. Then you will begin to see that color shit is just a construct. It's bullshit. Because the real movers and shakers in the world, that doesn't matter. It's about productivity. It's about what you can do, how you can help. And it doesn't matter on what level you can help at. because we're all here as men to build, to make life better for everyone, because that's the reason for building. So I want us brothers, and when I say brothers, I mean men of color, to stop separating ourselves. Stop making it seem like, oh, we're on an island alone. We're not. We're not. And shout out to all my military brothers, because I know they learned this. And a lot of my brothers who were in the military, some of their best brothers, the men that they will forever honor, don't look like them. Because at the end of the day, it's about banding together as men to get the desired results. That's what it's about at the end of the day. Shout out to Dyson. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you. And see, I'm bringing this up as a preface for today's show because what happens is when you begin to think that you have no agency, you have no backing, it's just you. It's just me against the world. You know, and no shot at Pac, but when you begin to think like that about yourself and live like that, that is when you actually are conforming. That is when you're conforming. See, because the agenda of the so-called powers that be, right? Their agenda is to keep everyone a rugged individual. That is their agenda. Dog eat dog, rugged individualism. So once they get us in the mindset as men to be rugged individuals, we're conforming. See, a lot of y'all think that conforming is something that you know, y'all look at conforming as some dude following the lead of some woman, you know, because they bastardize a lot of these terms. And being that a lot of men don't read and look up definitions of words, what happens is we start using them out of place. And we forget that those terms can be used in other situations. So we'll get up here and talk about conforming to women. Oh, he a simp because he conformed to his woman. You conform to your job. You conform to your job. So what's the difference? You see? You see what I'm saying? This is why we have to understand what these words mean. Because the whole goal of the quote unquote powers that be is to get everyone to conform. It's to get everyone to vote Democrat or Republican. See, that's conformity also. That's conformity also. When you pick from the choices that they allotted you to pick from, that's conformity also. You see? When you decide to live the life that they tell you to live, because they gave you a template on what a good man is, that's conformity. You see? Somebody telling you what a good man is to you, or what a good man is to them. See, that's conformity. And then you try to align yourself within that definition. Oh, a good man does this. A good man does that. A good man does this. A good man works here. A good man makes this amount of money. A good man does this. A good man wears that. All of that's conformity. All of that is conformity. Understand this. That's conformity. See, because you got to understand what this is about. If no one conforms, they don't have any control. You see? You see? So you're going to always have people that conform, but there's a level of conformity also. Because you got guys who conforms and they continuously conform. And see, as men, a man, his first line of his mode of operation should not be conformity. I see somebody in the chat put conformity is weakness. Yes, for certain type of men. To certain type of men, yes, it is. For certain type of men, it is. But like my brother Papa Flocka say, you got to take into what he said into consideration. He says that everyone has to conform them to a certain extent. Like, look what he said. He said, we all have to conform to something. Unless you consider yourself an outlaw or a freelancer. Laugh out loud. To conform to something against my integrity and morals is where I draw the line. You see? Now, let's get the definition of conformity. Let's look up what conformity is. Conformity, compliance with standard rules or laws, behavior in accordance with social accepted conventions or standards. This is the definition we're going to focus on today. Behavior in accordance with socially accepted. See, you got to pay attention to how they word things. See, because it's nothing wrong with the first definition. Compliance with standards, rules, and laws. See, if you leave it there, then it's like, well, hey, what's wrong with conforming? You see? But let's focus on the second definition. Behavior in accordance with socially accepted conventions or standards. So when you conform, right, your behavior, or you conform, and when you conform, you change your behavior to be socially accepted. So it's not just you adhering to rules, not being an outlaw. It's not just not being an outlaw or a freelancer. It's you tailoring your behavior so you can be accepted by what society deems acceptable behavior. See, that's different. You see, that's different. See, it's a difference when you say, I'm not gonna harm people because it tells you not to harm people. But if you then say, I'm not going to harm people because I might get arrested by the police, that's different. See, because then I'll have to question a man and say, well, what if somebody kills your mother? So if somebody harms somebody in your family, knowing that we have the police is going to be the reason why you don't do anything. See, that's a level of conformity. See, now we're dealing with conformity because you're actually afraid. You're afraid to do what is not socially acceptable. You see? That's conformity. And this is why you have a lot of men who say conformity is weakness. See, because you're supposed to adhere to rules and regulations. You're supposed to. That's part of being civil. That's part of being a civil person. That has nothing to do that when you talk about conformity, it goes deeper. That's why I got to the second definition. It's deeper than you just not throwing littering on a sidewalk. It's deeper than that. See, most people don't do shit that society deems wrong because they're afraid of the consequences. And as men, as builders, there's sometimes when you gotta do shit that's not popular. Sometimes as men, you have to take things a step further. And see, the men know what y'all understand what I'm saying. You see? We understand as being men, right? Being the strength. Sometimes you got to do things that society may deem to be wrong to get ahead. You see? Because if you stay in the realm of conformity as a man, in time, it does make you weak. You see? Because it's our job as men to oppose environment. It's our job as men to oppose environment. So taking risk, being a risk taker, a calculated one, by the way. Don't just be, wild and crazy, but to be a risk taker, to step out on faith and to do something. That's what men do. That's what we do. The inventions that we came up with as men, we had to go out and oppose the environment to have these things. You see? You cannot accomplish these things as men if you're at a level of conformity. You're never going to get anything done because you're going to be too afraid to offend someone. And this is what we have today with a lot of men. We got a lot of men who tiptoe through everything. You're living your life on hot coals. because you are focused on what society deems acceptable. And what it's doing is it's destroying men. Because we know society today is geared toward women and the wants and desires of women. So if we conform as men, we become them. We stop doing what men do, which is oppose an environment, which is finding a way out of no way. You see? Which is getting outside and doing something, making something happen. There's a lot of men who are afraid to do that now because of what society told them. Hey, it's dangerous out there. Hey, you got to watch out for these drill rappers. They might shoot you. Oh, you don't want to go outside and talk to these women? You talk to them online. It's easier. It's safer. Really? Now, are y'all following me? Put a one in the chat if y'all following me. I want to know if y'all following me. Shout out to everybody in the building. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you share today's show. See, like my brother Papa Flocka said earlier, he said he draws a line when it goes against his morals and his principles. You see? So at some point, what my brother Papa Flocka is saying is as men, you have to adjust. It's not you conforming, but you have to adjust. And adjusting for men is just us changing our perspective on how we see things. It's called growing up. At some point, we all grow up as men. And we stop looking at shit like like an angry boy. Like, yo, man, I'm sick of this job. I'm going home. See, when you get to a certain level of maturity, because you done that so much, you begin to look at going to work different. You begin to look at what you do in your life differently. So that takes a level of you adjusting. It's not you saying, I'ma just fall in line, and no, it's not that. It's you adjusting, you maturing, and you looking at things different. You see? That's really what it is. That's really what that is, bro. You see? That's what that is. It's a level of adjustment. But conforming to what society deems acceptable, that's different. That's different. Because now you're becoming something and someone for someone else. That's what conformity is. And that's what society wants all men to do. This is why you see the thumbnail what it is. Because see, after they got men to wear suits, because everybody still want to harp on this suit thing. You see? Everyone is caught up on men wearing suits, especially men of color. See, that has always been a level of conformity. Because what that does is that tells the quote unquote powers that be that we're willing to look or fit that stereotype that you have for us. So you don't look at us another way. See, I've always looked at wearing a suit as doing that. Shout out to Doug. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate your support. I've always looked at it like that. And my dad wore suits. He was from that era. My dad wore suits. My dad wore slacks every day to work. He worked in the office. After my dad left the construction game, he began to work in offices. He actually worked across the street from One Police Plaza. In the U.S. Attorney's Office. You see? So my dad dressed up every day. And my dad, he always wanted me to wear suits. He always wanted me to wear suits. He used to try to get me to dress up when I was in high school. Because my dad is from that era. They didn't wear jeans like that. If they wore jeans on a weekend. Or when they just outside playing. But whenever they went out, whether it was to a dance, a bar, anything, the men had slacks on, shoes on, button-up shirts, cardigans. That's how my dad dressed. Some of my friends in the chat room, they know. Now, once my dad retired and all of that stuff, that's when he started wearing sneakers and jeans and, baseball hats. But when my dad was working, never wore that. And I used to always tell my dad, Dad, why do I have to wear a suit to fit in? And you know what he used to tell me? Because you do not, or the suit makes you non-offensive. The suit makes you appear to be non-threatening. And we all know this because us that come from the hood, when the hustlers had to go in and they had to go to court, they didn't even like wearing a suit, but the lawyers made you put on a suit because it made what was being said about you more convincing in a court of law. So if you want to beat this case, if you want these people to believe you're innocent, you put on a goddamn suit. You see? There's the level of conformity. There's the level of conformity. Now, am I saying that's a bad thing? No. Because in the environment, right, there's laws. And you have to uphold the standards of these what? Laws. So when you walk in the courtroom, if you want to convince these people just who you're not, then you go in there and you appear the way they want you to be. And then we can deem you innocent or not based on you doing what we told you to do. You see? You see? Y'all give me 1 second. Okay, we back. But as I was saying, this is what happens. And see, this whole big dust up about Kevin Samuels and how he trying to get men to wear suits, That's just him trying to get black men to conform. That's all. Look the way they want black men to look. They want black men to be clean cut. You can't have no beard. You better not have no dreads. You better not have no braids. You got to be clean cut with a suit on or a bow tie. Why? Because that makes you non-threatening. It makes you look anti-rebel. See, because that is the one thing the government has always been afraid of. Rebellion. And that is what all governments are afraid of. They're afraid of the people rebelling, revolts. So they come up with these standards for people to uphold in society. So you never think about rebelling. And the first sign of a rebel is what he wears. That is the first sign of a rebel. Not what you say. Not what you say, but what you wear. What you have on. You see? This is why they've always been afraid of my generation. They've always been afraid of the millennials, because we were the ones who said we're not wearing suits. See, you Gen Xers put suits on. You put suits on because you used to go to church with your grandmama. And she made sure you had on dress socks. See, we were the generation who threw the suit shit out the window. We're not wearing no suit because we know what that means. That's conformity. And what happens when men take off the suit? What's the next goddamn thing they wear? This is the next thing they wear. When they got men to stop wearing suits, they start wearing dresses. When men, the next level after the suit is a dress. Is a dress. That's what men are wearing now. They're wearing dresses. They're wearing ball gowns. They're wearing dresses with the tuxedo jacket up at the top, and at the bottom, it's a wedding dress. See, these are the dangers of conformity. You see? Once they could get you to put the suit on, what's after the suit? What's after the suit? See, I bet we never got into that. We never got into that. We never talked about that. What's after the suit? What's after the suit? Shout out to Health and Healing. I'm in favor of just about any clear look, just no sag. I thought it would go away when Obama was elected 10 years ago. Came back with the skinny jeans. You see? Shout out to you, Health and Healing. Appreciate your support. Shout out to everybody in the building. Salute. Make sure y'all like and share the show. And I agree with you, Health and Healing. I'm not opposed. I'm always opposed to the clean look and a man being organized. But now my question is, Kevin Samuels, you want us to put a suit on, right? Obsidian, you want us to put a suit on. What's after the suit? Since it's so y'all really think wearing a suit is always going to be the standard for masculinity? That's a goddamn lie. With the LGBT, with their prominence currently. So tell me how is a suit the standard for masculinity when you got a bunch of gay men who don't want to wear no suit? They want to wear dress. And this ain't me throwing no shots at y'all, but we know what it is. Y'all don't want to appear to be men. Period. And y'all want to be respected as such because of your sexual preference. Cool. But now I'm going to ask that question again. Where do we go after the suit? Because now we see men wearing dresses. There's more men wearing dresses than suits now. Do y'all have anything to say about that? And some of these men who are wearing dresses are saying they're not homosexual men. So I'm not harping or using homosexual men as an example. No, I'm not doing that. Because Young Thug said he's not a homosexual. And he has women and plenty other men to vouch for him being a straight man who just wears dresses. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, because the dress for the man now, especially color men of color, that is the standard. That is the new thing they want men to conform to. We passed the suit because the suit was a socially acceptable construct of the past. What is it going to be for the future? The dress. The dress. So now we not conforming to wearing dresses. We're not making that adjustment. We're not adjusting our way of life to wearing dresses. Because that's what they want men in now. Dresses. Not just black men, all men. All of us. They want us all wearing dresses. They want us all looking like Perez Hilton. That's what they want men to conform to. But this is what happens when we conform. This is what happens. We start doing things that really goes against our goddamn nature. Now, as men, are you supposed to go against your nature? To be socially accepted? Shout out to Health and Healing for doubling up. He says so many other cultures follow our dress, but they leave out the sag. Of course. Of course. Of course. Shout out to you, Health and Healing. Appreciate the double up, man. You see? As men, they want us to wear dresses now. Tyler Perry. Why do you think they made sure from the early 2000s? See, it's all about programming. I've told y'all this. It's a spiritual war. See, they've already prepped us for the dress. Let's go back to the early 2000s when Madea first started. This ain't me throwing shots at Tyler Perry, so get out your feelings. Get out your fifis. Oh, he's talking about a black man. He's always talking about black men. Get out your feelings. The truth is the goddamn truth. He's the one who made black men look normal wearing a goddamn dress. Point blank, period. And somebody tell me where I'm wrong at. He made it acceptable in the hood, in your inner city neighborhoods, for men to wear dresses. Tyler Perry did that. Because Tyler Perry's a household name. We all watch Medea. We all loved Medea. So much to the point where little boys in their house started acting like her. They started acting like Medea. They started reenacting Medea. And nobody said nothing because it was entertaining. And over time, it became a precedent. Over time, it been accepted. Oh, he just acted like Medea. So what if he got on a dress? Then it went from it being funny till it being lucrative. Because you start seeing how many people watching your videos. Oh, my son video got 1 million views. He was just being funny. He's just 5 years old acting out Medea. And then what happened? Over time, you started seeing 5-year-olds now they catwalking with a whole goddamn pencil skirt on. Now he catwalking at 5. Y'all saw the video. Y'all saw the videos. Turning their little boys into whole, runway models where he's strutting and shit. He 5, 6 years old. Who you think made it okay? Who you think made it okay? That household name, Tyler Perry, Medea. A man in a goddamn dress. See, because it wasn't cool when Chris Tucker did it in Fifth Element. You see? Wasn't cool then. Wasn't cool when Ving Rhames did it. Wasn't cool. They weren't cool enough. They needed a man who was cool enough, who will draw and capture the attention of women. That's why they used Tyler Perry. That's how Tyler Perry became a household name. He taught black people to accept the effeminate man. That's what he did. That's just the truth. I don't have no problem with Tyler Perry. But that's just the truth. That's what he done. That's how he got rich. That's how he got rich. You see? He knew the next level after the goddamn suit was the dress. Why do you think the dress for the man in Hollywood is the standard? Would you put on a dress? That's how you get to the next level. Would you put on a dress? You see? Because you have to show them that you are willing to conform on every level. That's the reason for it. They have to know you're willing to conform on every level. See? So when they pushed us sagging and showing our drawers and our buttocks, we were conforming to the jail image. We were conforming to the jail image. See? Y'all see how this works? It's all conformity. Because it's about what they make cool in society. If they deem it acceptable, then we see it on commercials. See? All of this stuff is sold to us, by the way, in the form of lifestyles. That's how it's sold to us. You see? We were convinced and made to believe that the gangster image is what we as men should aspire to be. And we conformed, and once we conformed, everything else comes behind that. You see? It's a biological, cultural, and environmental change. That's what it is. So when they got us to accept the jail lifestyle, sagging the pants, acting extra, what do we call hyper masculine? That was to do what? That was to convince men that it was okay to go to jail. You see? It's okay. You selling drugs. You already look like a jail nigga, so we're just preparing you for jail. You see? But see, we don't understand that the diversion and the manipulation goes that deep. You see, this is why they tell you in the definition, conformity is behavior in accordance with socially accepted. Socially accepted. Socially accepted. Men don't do what society says is acceptable. That's not how men supposed to live. You see? We are supposed to oppose that. Am I saying be a rebel? Am I saying be an outlaw? No. No. But you're not going to tell me because it's socially acceptable to wear goddamn dress and skinny jeans that I'm going to wear it because y'all said that shit is cool. Because y'all said that that's what's fly. See, because that is the mindset of women. See, because the nature of women is to nest. And when you are conforming, you are nesting. That's what you're doing. You're nesting. Health and healing. Appreciate you, fam. He says true. Appreciate you, family. Shout out to Larry Vaughn. He said non-binary social engineering agenda. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I talked about that last year on this channel, Larry Vaughn. Appreciate you, King. You see? You see what's going on here? This is why now that we always hear there's a role reversal. This is due to social engineering, like my brother Larry Vaughn just spoke about. And conformity is part of that. Getting you to conform to what we want to deem as normal. And if you're the kind of guy who deems what we've made norm to be weird, to not be acceptable, then you're what is considered an outlaw. You're what is considered a rebel because you won't nest in this nasty, toxic bullshit that is actually destroying men. And when men are destroyed, what does that do to the women and children? That makes them cannon fodder. You see? This is why over there in the white manosphere, they don't believe and they stand against conformity, because white men, Asian men, Latino men understand that male nature is to not conform. Because if we conform to what they want to be normal, we'll lose our families. Because the government wants to control your house. The government wants to control your woman. They want to control your children. So where does that leave you as a man? Where does that leave you? That leaves you to what? Die on your sword or conform. And this is why you have today a bunch of men wearing dresses to feed their families. And hey, if you think you got to wear a dress to feed your family, to each his own, my man. But this is why you have what you have today. Because men choose not to oppose environment, not to oppose what they want to deem as cool. And the reason why men are supposed to oppose these things is because we know trends change. Things are going to change. And with the internet, things are going to change even much faster, especially with this metaverse coming. Well, I'm going to say expanding because it's already here. So what's cool, what's not cool, what's this, what's that, all of that stuff is subject to change. See, but we're not supposed to change with it as men. That is the job of women. Women are supposed to do that because women are more sociable than men, and women love social acceptance. As a man, we shouldn't care about being socially accepted by a bunch of goddamn suckers. We shouldn't care about that. That is not the nature of a man. But we know due to conformity, it has corrupted men. Conformity has corrupted men. It has lulled a lot of us men asleep. This is why a lot of men are 85ers. Blind, deaf, and dumb. They're blind, deaf, and dumb to their nature, who they are. Who you are. You are supposed to oppose environment. That is what strength is. You see? Resistance, opposing. That is what made men get up and start building houses, building highways, building byways. That is why. Because we oppose environment. We had to do something to oppose the goddamn weather conditions. That's why we start building huts. Because we oppose environment. What do? Women nest in it. It is what it is. They told us to take the COVID shot. We took it. That's the nature of women. That is not the nature of a man. If men did that, society will not be where it's at today. Where would society be? Where would we be? There'll be no cars on the road. There'll be no roads. We'll still be living in a goddamn forest. But what did men do? Men start cutting down trees and start building goddamn roads throughout the forest. And we built so far out that now we got highways and back roads, and all of that is due to men being who men are. And conformity takes that out of men. It takes that out of us. It takes the ambition out of us, the drive out of us. You see? It takes the fight out of men. You see? And that's what they don't want men to do. They want men to not fight against what we're supposed to fight against. They don't want us to fight back. Shout out to Matt. He says, neutered and emasculated. Yes. 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 They do not want men to oppose environment. They don't want us to oppose the things that plague us. They want us to come and say, well, what do I do? Oh, we'll tell you, hey, go over here, put this dress on. Put this dress on. That's what we want you to do. We want you to put on this dress. You see? Because what do you see more now in the media? And I want y'all to put this, to answer it in the chat, y'all. Shout out to everybody that's here. I want y'all to answer this in the chat room. What do you see more today? Men in suits or men in dresses? Y'all sound off in the chat for me. I want y'all to let me know. What do you see today more prevalent? Men in suits or men in dresses? What do you see? Men in suits or men in dresses? Shout out to Alonzo Hall. Salute, fam. Polo, salute. Polo says the good book says, be not conformed, but yet transformed. Yes, exactly. Adjust. Men in dresses. Males in pantsuits. Men in dresses. Men in dresses. So all of this promotion of the suit shit that old boy be talking about, we already know that he's just trying to get men to conform, because there's something in it for men who lead other men to the slaughter. See, they're called the 10%. And that's what a lot of these dudes represent. They represent the 10%. The blood suckers of the poor, the one who know right and wrong. See, he know that suit shit don't really mean nothing because it didn't grant him a lot. It didn't grant him what he wanted. You see? And a lot of these black men who get up here and promote this suit shit know that. They know that. All you did was wear the suit for the interview, nigga. The suit didn't get you the job. The suit doesn't get the job done. The suit don't make you a better man. All the suit is for the interview process. That's all. Hopefully they like your suit and your cologne and they'll hire you off of your bullshit resume. That's what it is. That's what it is. It's your costume. It's your costume. You know what else is a costume? For men, a dress. A dress. So how's that working for us? Huh? How has it worked for Terry Crews? Every time you see Terry Crews in the media, he got a goddamn suit on. He's still not respected as no man. This man was getting sexually assaulted on goddamn movie sets. See? And the reason why is because he came in there smiling and beguiling with his suit on. So they already knew what they were dealing with. A weak man. A man who's willing to conform and accept whatever we deem acceptable so he can get some money. So he can so-called get ahead. But you getting ahead is still based on what we say. Not what you've done, but what we say. See the difference? See, that's how you know when you're dealing with conformity. Because just because you wear the suit, they still got to grant you access. The suit doesn't grant you access. The suit gets you the interview. But they still have to grant you the access that you're begging and pleading for. And if you don't want them to just throw your goddamn resume and your application in the trash, you come in there with a suit on. So they can say, well, at least he can follow instructions. That's conformity. That's them already looking down on you. That's them already looking down on you. You see? And don't no man worth his salt will allow any other man to look down on him and to speak down on him for anything. See? Because at the end of the day, all a man has is what? His integrity. That's all he has. That's what he's going to die with. You see? And true masculinity and manhood is a thing of the past with men because we've got so hung up in conforming and trying to please every goddamn body but ourselves. This is what has happened. This is what has happened. Now you go on TikTok, Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels. You got men up there acting like women, twerking with skirts on, twerking, doing all types of shit. Now it's fun to wear a dress and act like a little hood rat. Now that's funny. Now this is considered funny and comical. Shit like this. Masculine cosplay. Shout out to my brother, the Book of Ronan. See, now this is considered a joke. Oh, he's just joking, DS1. You're reading into it too much. Really? You're reading into it too much. It's not that serious. Really? Really? That's what you're going to sit here and tell me? But then turn around and say, oh, we these men don't want to be men no more. Yeah, because we've been convinced that being a man is a thing of the past. We've been convinced that being masculine and showing up as a man is being toxic. That's what we've been convinced to believe and to accept as men across the board. If you speak up for yourself, if you speak with conviction and honesty and just being genuine, now you're toxic. Now you're toxic. And you're not just toxic amongst women, you're toxic amongst these other sellout ass men. These boule butt plugs. You see? That's what this quote unquote civil war in the black manosphere is about. You got dudes who still want to be the head, and you got other dudes who want to be the tail. They want to be the tail now. Because it goes back to what? Conformity. It goes back to what? Socially acceptance. Social acceptance. Them being socially accepted. Now, how are they going to be socially accepted by the winning team, which is the women? How are they going to be socially accepted by them if they're not doing, saying, and wearing what the hell they want them to do? See? You see? See, because you got to understand, we're following what they're teaching women. Social acceptance is for women. That's part of nesting. That's part of nesting. You see? So by you putting the suit on and doing this and that, you make her feel comfortable to accept you. You see? You see? You see? She's only doing what she's told. You're not supposed to do what you're told. You see? You see, that's why in the Garden of Eden story, right? The devil, and y'all could believe it or not. Y'all could believe it or not. It don't matter. Right? The devil came to our women and convinced the woman to follow the devil. Because he knows that men are carnal. So he went to our woman after he couldn't convince us alone. See, once we didn't go for the programming, for the acceptance, once we didn't accept the poison, because we're men and we're logical and we know what that is, right? He said, oh, okay, I got a trick for him. I got a trick for him. Let's see if he understands his nature in its entirety. See, because a lot of men forget the carnal side of us men. Carnality. That's what makes us external. That's what makes us external. See? So what'd he do? He went to our women and convinced her because he knew she can convince us by playing on our carnal nature. See? The devil knew we wasn't going to say no to that naked woman. She naked. I'm going to eat that fruit with her, and then we going to have sex. See? That's the nature of a man. That's how we are. But we got to understand that that's one part of us. That's one part of us. That's only one part of us. You see? And when you only focus on one part of yourself, you become a derelict. You see? This is why on this channel, I tell brothers we got to heal before we build. It's not just about building, it's about healing. You see? So we got to look past the first definition of conformity, which is you adhering to rules and standards. You got to go to the second definition where they talk about being socially accepted. That's not for men. Men don't live their life looking for social acceptance. That's women. Women want to go around women who accept them, that's not hating on them and all of that. That's for women. Men don't care about that. Because a man who's assured himself, he if he got to be by himself, he'll be by himself. If he got to take this walk alone with no friends, that's what he'll do. And he'll just deal with the people that he encounter on that journey. But no, all women needs a social life. This is why they love social media, because they have it gives them access to having a social life. You know, that's just how they are. But too much of us men have been convinced to live the same way. Brandon Franklin, salute my brother. Hey, what's up, Just Jay? Good to see you. You see? And over time, this breaks us down as men. Then when you get older, you live with a bunch of regret. Because you've lived a life of conformity. See, you can't be a go-getter and conform. You can't be a hustler and be a conformist. You see? Because you hustling to do what? You're hustling to become what? Like every other nigga? You spend all this time hustling, doing whatever you doing to look like the next man, to drive what the next man drive, to aspire to have the same lifestyle as the next man. You're weak. That's conformity. You see? You're not hustling and grinding to build the life that you want to live for you in all areas. You only claiming you a hustler, you only claiming you a go-getter because it sounds good on social media. It sounds good to the women who are listening to it. And by the way, I look good in suits. I do. I just don't like the tag that's attached to it. So I only wear suits on special occasions. But I'm one of those guys. I look good when I dress up. Very good. All of the women I've been with, when I've actually took the time and got formal, a lot of them want me to dress like that more, to be more of a formal guy. And I will. I will. I will. But I understand what that comes with. I understand what when other people see that, what that means. And that's not me. I'm more than a suit. Why don't we focus on the man in the suit instead of the suit? But we don't focus on the man in the suit when we're dealing with what? Social acceptance. As long as you adhere to these standards that we set for you, we don't care if you a piece of shit in the suit. We don't care if you a scammer and a liar in a suit, as long as you got the suit on. And this is why that is destroying men. Because the more and more that we see this as men, men begin to think that it's acceptable amongst other men to be pieces of shit as long as you got a suit on. You can lie in another man's goddamn face as long as you got a suit on. You could just be a shit bird as long as you got a suit on. You can be the highest level of pieces of shit because you got a suit on. You can be the most narcissistic prick as long as you got a suit on. And what that does is that breaks down the fabric of the brotherhood, of what men are supposed to be as a collective. Not us all standing with each other playing size order. I'm not saying that. I'm saying men as a group, as a gender. It is destroying the way we look as a gender. It's making us look weak because we focused on bullshit. Back in the day, the men of the old time, they wore suits when they went to funerals or churches or when they went out with their wives. You see? Because those men were about getting shit done. Not coming in here appearing to have some goddamn authority because you got on a Zorro blue with a suit on. But you ain't nothing but some scamming ass failure who trying to finesse because you got a suit on. And that's a problem amongst men. That's a problem. Because then we'll turn around and complain about the rise of feminism. But there's a huge rise in feminism and a huge feminist presence because of these emasculated, socially acceptable men. Because they're the ones sitting next to the feminist and saying, yeah, I'm going to help you. And tomorrow, we're going to talk about why they really hate Pookie and Ray Ray. Because it ties into today's show. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about the real reason why they hate Pookie and Ray Ray. The real reason. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. That's going to be a part 2 to today's show. And I would like to thank y'all for coming and tuning into today's show. Shout out to everybody in the building. Much love to all of you visionaries out there. Shout out to everyone If you haven't yet, make sure you hit that like button, share, and make sure you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you notified every time I drop some new content right here on Sheep Stay Sleep TV. Let me give some shout outs before I wrap today's show up. Mac360, what's good, man? He says Steve Harvey is on that suit-ish too. Of course, and we know he's a shit bird. We already saw that he has no loyalty to men. He's a blue falcon. Andre Harris, what's good, Andre Harris? Toya the Tutor says, I personally prefer a man with firm conviction, but I'm used to being in the minority. Shout out to you, Toya. Much love. Don Godo, what's good, Don Godo? Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you, Papa Flocka. You already know, my brother. Shout out to everyone that's here. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. If you hit the super chats, I appreciate all of the super chats. I see I missed one. Shout out to Health and Healing, man. He said, go back further. Martin, hey, we got so much examples, dog. We got so much examples. I appreciate you chiming in, though, Health and Healing. I appreciate the super chats, and I appreciate you chiming in, man. I appreciate everyone for tuning into today's show. Like I said, if you haven't yet, go ahead and make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell so you're notified every time I drop some new content. If you would like to donate to the show, CashApp $SheepStaySleepTV is where you can go. It's going across your screen. Also, it is pinned in on top of the chat box. Shout out to everyone once again. If you donated, I appreciate it. You hit the like button, you hit the share, hit that subscribe. I appreciate all the love and the support. I'm your host, DS1 Ross. You have just tuned in to another show right here on Sheep Stay Sleep TV. I appreciate you guys. And before we get up out of here, brothers, remember, we are our own agency. We are our own agency. We're our own agency, man. You want to stop seeing this shit, we got to understand that we're our own agency. I'm going to catch y'all tomorrow. Peace.